well, good something. Good New Year. Happy New Year. It's that kind of Monday. Welcome back to the 2026 Day 1 Kiki Fur in the Air edition of Reaper Pro Tips. And I am your host, Anne. We are also joined by, disembodied hands Quinty and disembodied beard John and disembodied ears probably Karinico. However, let's just first things first. There's some subs here. I had to go all the way back to the beginning. Crowley with the 70 months. That's a round number. But Quinty wins the cake with the sextuple subiversary. Happy sextuple subiversary. There we go. Way to ring in the new year, Quinty. Let's see, there's more here. M. Fontana with the 75 months, like pounding everybody else. You've exceeded that anybody else. 75 has got to be like, that's got to be close to max. Oh man. Yeah. Oh no, your furnace. Oh no, Kodiak. Oh no. At least you have a Shiloh. Does she snuggle? Kiki would keep you warm. 73 months for Twisted. Oh my. Blah. Yeah, pardon my mouth. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Getting out of bed in the chilly room. Welcome to the, back in the pioneer days, right? Pioneer days when you had to drag yourself into an icy cabin to start your stove, right? Yeah. Oh, boy. She has the best snuggles. That's great. That's awesome. Well, welcome back, all. We're still stuck on Halloween, even though it's New Year's. Because, when are undead not suitable? So, yeah. Anyway. Oh, I should change my paper out. It's all dirty. All right. Anyway. First thing I'm going to do, actually... Did I stick this guy? Yeah, I stuck him on with blue tack. I'm going to actually paint the base because it's really hard to see how the actual corporeal parts are carrying without that frame of reference. So I'm actually going to block in the base really quick. I'm just going to go with a standard kind of dark gray color. I might use carbon with a little bit of something else in it, maybe a little bit of brown to differentiate itself from the armor. I don't want those to be too close, although I can certainly use blue liner to shade. So let's look for my carbon gray, which might actually be out here on my tabletop. Yes, it is. And then I think I'm going to just throw some brown liner and some white into that. 299 days till Halloween. We're slowly working through. We're almost out of Halloween land, actually. This is our last Halloween model. Get some of this other crap out of my way. I have all this crap everywhere. There. Alrighty, so we're going to do 2 drops of our, let me get back here. 2 drops of our carbon gray, which is a charcoal gray. Feeding the birds, I assume you mean Coral. Although Coral's earless, she can't hear me. Yeah, we got back and I just re-upped the food in our feeders. They had run out while we were gone. And, the birds have totally descended. Alright, there we go. A couple drops of that carbon gray. I'm going to throw the brown liner in there. Mix it up. And add some white. Bloop. There you go. I assume y'all had pretty good Christmas / New Year. I know some of you popped on my Saturday stream. I sat down yesterday and made myself take the time to actually do the green work I needed to do on my Golden Demon model, as well as a couple other prep things that I was working on. So that's good. Now it feels like we can really push forward with my Golden Demon model. I still don't know if he's going to get done on time. It really just depends on how much time I decide to put into him. But, alright, so there, and then 1 drop of white, I think. For those who didn't know, David got totally sick because of his parents being sick when they visited us, so he had a very, had a bad cold all while we were in Hawaii, so that was less than awesome. And he's still fighting it, because that's what happens when a cold gets onto David, is it stays forever. Move that over. Oh yeah, what's the 90-day challenge voting? Right. Let's go over there and take a look. Oh yeah, it's the treasure guys. Oh, got a cool lighting effect one. Oh, got a cool kind of sepia tone one. I like that one. Yeah, you guys should go over and look at the cool paint ups. Yeah, there's a couple of nice OSL. Not too many people did this one though. I think I'm gonna go off brand and vote for this one. Yeah, cool. Yeah, go and vote, guys. Go and vote. Yeah, being sick on vacation is awful, and I totally blame his parents, but... Oh, nice, Twistoma. You go. Yeah, we're so back, Reaper. We're so back. I just told everybody to vote on the 90-day challenge. Yeah, but, like, if I don't vote for all of them, that means my one, I can, like, I don't want to vote for, like, just all the good ones, because, like, I guess I could vote for, like, I don't want to vote for the obvious, like, pick, I guess. I want to vote for the one that, like, makes me feel, like, awesome. Like, the one that makes my heart go, oh, that's interesting. But you can vote however you want. And if you want to give everybody who's awesome an upvote, do so. Yeah, I didn't see any Fs, and I don't see any blips on my own dashboard. Alright, so we're going to grab a bigger brush, which is my 2 Da Vinci number 2. Oh, it's hard to see because it's not close. 2 Da Vinci. And then we're going to get a little bit more in focus. And we're going to focus. There we go. Yeah. Sweet. And now this color's gone a little bit more brown, a little less blue. When you've got a gray that's made straight up with black and white, it tends to shift a little blue because the coal black pigment shifts cooler. So it tends, even though there's no blue in there, it tends to look a little bluish. Let's see if I've still got coverage here. Yeah, I do. I should, even though I've thinned it. So I'm just going to paint over everything. I can always come back and paint over the little plants here and stuff. There's a little plant. Little plant trying to grow next to undead dude. But yeah. So I had an idea this morning, because I'm kind of mapping out my Patreon for the year. And I wanted to make a change, at least a slight change to my my paint-along tier. What do you guys think about... I don't know if this really works for my audience, but I'm going to put it up as a poll on my Patreon too. But I was thinking about just doing a beginner's paint-along too, because I've gotten some new people signing up for the Patreon, and they sign up at a high tier. And the Dragonkin Rogue is like, you know, the kind of the first paint-along I did, and it's the best one for beginners to get in. But I still do some pretty advanced stuff on there. I was wondering if I should do a paint-along, a new paint-along that's just specifically using, like, concentrates on using all the techniques from my fundamentals and mini painting videos. So starting from the very basics and then getting more and more advanced as it goes. I'm just going to paint over that plant. To heck with you, plant. You're gray. There's an undead guy next to you. If you're not dead, like, now, you will be soon. But yeah, I'm not sure if, like, because I know that many of the people on my Patreon are not, if not more advanced painters, are at least intermediate level. Maybe they wouldn't appreciate the fundamentals stuff, but I know. I'm going to do a poll on it. I have a couple of polls to hit my paint along people with. So if you're on that level, you're going to get a little bit of poll spam in the next day or two. We've got to figure out a color scheme. We chose one of the big cat people, Raja, the tiger guy from Christine at Moonlight, to paint for our next paint along. But I need to know if you want him as a leopard or a tiger. So you get that poll, and then you'll also get the poll on, hey, do you guys want me to do a fundamentals paint along? Because, you know, since when you sign up to my Patreon, you get everything I've ever done. I kind of do want a fundamentals paint along for the archive, essentially. And I can make a playlist for it so that, or a collection for it on Patreon so that people can find it, access it when they come in. But I will put it up to a vote. And if the overwhelming majority of paint along people don't want me to do that, then I won't. But I'll do it in addition to the normal paint along. So I'm hoping people will be, like, happy for me to do it. Now, I'll probably pick a Moonlight model for that too, because Christine's stuff is just simple and easy to paint, relatively speaking. And I can be targeted with what topics I want to cover. Thinking I'll maybe do a model in cloth and a model in armor. And I'll just make that a kind of a... Because I have been doing 2 paint-alongs at once. And I wanted to go away from that, but I could continue it if one of them is very basic. And it would be very basic. It would be like walking people through hand-holding everything. Like how I'm loading my brush, what my exact ratio is here and why, you know. Which a lot of you guys probably already have heard 50 million times, but I know you're beyond that point. But a lot of people aren't. Morning, Polly. Yeah, I mean, my videos are currently like my fundamentals videos. I don't want to do it on a stream. It's purely for the Patreon. But I want that content there for the Patreon because I've gotten, like, I had 2 new people sign up. They only started painting like 6 months ago, and they both came because of my YouTube. And I want more content for those people because the vast majority, when I started this Patreon, the vast majority of my people came to me from Reaper. But now that is completely changed because fundamentals of miniature painting got pretty popular. So now the majority of the new people who are coming to my Patreon are actually coming to me through YouTube. And thus why I kind of feel like I want to do this for them. But yeah, I'll put it up as a poll. All right. So essentially getting this kind of the stonework down here blocked in lets me have a frame of reference for the guy's corporeal stuff. So since then we've got only the ghosty horses, completely ghosty, and we can see everything else. I need a block for this guy. I don't really want to use a huge one, but a huge one is all I've got right now. It's because Ghoul King is on my medium one. Well, if a huge block is what you got, a huge block is what you got. Let me just pop him on here. I'll probably have to raise my camera a little bit, though. And I need a little bit more blue tack or mounting putty. Look at the mounting putty. Oh, it's almost gone, actually. Oh, no. Might need to order some more. I have a lot of little wooden blocks prepped. So, just taking off the last of my blue. You can see how fresh it is. But yes, Happy New Year to everyone. But yeah, so that, and I probably need to sit down and curate some content for the new people, just in general. But yeah, just meandering. But yeah, excited about the cat person paint along. He's a good model. And I'll be doing shaded metallics for my fundamentals stuff in my $2 tier this month. The other thing I'm going to do, it might be an extra, because I do want to do the Chimera Velvets review this month. Hopefully I will have the time to sit down and really just play with them. But I want to put out, had a request from a new patron about which they're excited about 2.0, but they want to try out MSP before 2.0 comes out. So what they asked for, yeah, I feel that, Crowley. So what they asked for is a list of current MSPs that are in a good place. So I thought I would ask you guys to chime in on your favorite current MSPs that you feel are pretty representative of the line, pretty stable, in a pretty good place, right? Like have decent coverage and or, just are very useful. Obviously, I'm going to recommend some liners, at least a couple. All right, sorry, we're getting a glob of sticky tack down here so that we can stick Horsey Guy on it. Wiggle him. Get him stuck on. And I'm going to raise my camera just a little bit. There we go. There, now we have a horsey, and I don't have to hold the outside of his base. Gnome Flesh and Russet Brown. Here, let me write them down. Yeah, walnut is such a go-to, right? Walnut, russet, gnome flesh is a good one. Any other suggestions, my dears? Anne is going to put down, I'm going to put blue liner down. Blue-brown liner. Obviously, pure black is always in a good place. Clears are, this is a newer painter, so probably not the clears. I also asked Benita what she's adjusted and what might be good. Hey, Gilded Brush, how's it going? I'm going to say Lantern Yellow, or actually I should put Candlelight instead, because since Lantern is a clear. Candlelight Yellow. I'm going to say Cyan Blue, because it has great coverage for what it is. Yeah, those are some good starts, if you guys think. I probably won't say Marigold, because Marigold is getting canceled. Asmodeus is a good red, though. Salamander Orange replaces Marigold Yellow. And this person did get the Dungeon Dwellers Kickstarter, so they'll get some 2.0 colors with that as well. All right, let's get this going on here. I want my black. This bottle of black is almost out. There we go. The trip was, David was sick because his parents were sick when they came for the holidays, and he caught it. I have totally avoided it. My immune system is back, apparently. But, yeah, other than that, the vacation was really, really good. I got some awesome pictures of lava rocks. There was a really cool hike near where we were. And let me see if I can find my really pretty sunrise picture. I was out at dawn, pretty much. I woke up early on our last day. And that was the scene from the trail near our hotel. So it was really gorgeous. But yeah, and I got lots of good lava rock reference photos for future dioramas, of course. Always one of my favorite things. And then the other thing we did was we went up the volcano, Haleakala. And that was like being on Mars. It was the coolest. It was so cool. Very desolate. There's all my fam hiking down that trail. And then we saw a really cool sky effect. It was a sun halo while we were on top of the volcano, which was really awesome. And then, here, hold on. There's some really pretty. Here's some sailboats at sunset for you. Yeah, rock ideas for basing and dioramas. My favorite one of the volcano that really looks like Mars is this one. It that's what we were hiking by. It was really cool. Hold on, I'm gonna grab all of your guys' suggestions. Thank you. And of course we were up above the clouds, so like it was raining down lower on the island. So we actually were above that layer of clouds, and then we just had the other sky. I didn't get any good chickens this time. There was a cute little chick, but we were trying to get somewhere, so I couldn't take a picture. I did get some birds though. These really cool. Damn, I can't remember what they are. But they came when I went out to eat breakfast. They were like there. They were like, and they kept making like every song they knew, trying to convince me to give them food. And this was the sunset on our first day, which is very, very Hawaii. It's just beautiful. So yeah, beautiful. And there were lots of rainbows. And we were close enough that we could actually see like the end of the rainbow. Like it actually came down right behind the house. It was funny. I don't usually see rainbows where I can see the end, and then they had a cool double one. You can just barely see the other one. But yeah, lots of rainbows. Very cool stuff. Oh, sweet. All right. I think that's all. There were lots of cool birds. I took lots of cool bird pictures for my mom. This is a cute little guy. He was adorable. He was in the mall we were at. We were trying to find some art galleries to look at. So he was really neat. Let me see if I had it. I think that was pretty much it. There was this big guy who was kind of cool, but he wouldn't show me his face. But he had cool feathers. Always take pictures so that you have, like, cool feather references, folks. But yeah, I got lots of really cool kind of big sky pictures. That was at dusk, and that was a really cool one. I love the streak of light coming off here in the clouds. So, yeah, I like to take pictures of skies and natural things so that I can pull on them for future stuff. All right, now I need to make note of all of the colors you guys suggested. David is still fighting the cold twisted oma. He went to coughing for a while, and I was hopeful that he'd kicked it. And then he actually sneezed again last night. I'm like, no, you're not permitted to have a relapse. River Lake Blue's a good one. Green Year Series. I'll note that one down. Hold on. Maybe I'll take off that and put Ritter Lake. All right, I think I've got a few I can at least get them set up. I think that Heraldic Red is also a really good one. Although the reds are going to change so much, though, that I'm almost hesitant. Like, that makes a big difference to have more pigment in there. So I'll question mark that. Yeah, thanks for all those paint suggestions, guys. No, the Pathfinder paints stay as are. Pathfinder is like, because it's a licensed product, Crowley, like those are the formulas that, like, there's a clause I think Ed put in pretty much all of our paint things that the formulas, like the color ideas and names belong to the company that's licensing, but the formulas belong to us. And so the formulas, once they're made for licensed products, they stay. They stay the same. I don't know, as I've mentioned to you guys before, and I don't know this officially or anything, but I don't know how much longer Pathfinder will be available. It doesn't sell crazy well, except for a few colors. The few colors that I call out, I think, regularly sell. But I don't know how much longer Reaper and Paizo will decide to continue it. That's always the problem with licensed paints. Alright, I'm going to put a black border around this, and we're going to work on this guy's armor. I'll fill in a lot. I need to, I want to do his crown, I think. I need to figure out how this is going to look around his face. But I need to have like a frame of reference since everything is so ghosty. Yeah, there are a lot of pretty colors in there. I mean, if the line gets canceled, the whole line gets canceled, Kodiak. And if the only way then that the colors would come back would be if we essentially created a new formulation based on those. And they would change a little bit if we 2.0'd them. We'd have to change the name. They would not be the same thing at all. So if you want them, if you like them, you need to get them now. I mean, I can't tell you how many bottles of Assyrian sand I have. And I have a few cairn stones as well, because I like cairn stone a lot. For a stone highlighter, I think it's really good for basing highlights. Oh, tell Kuro nothing's getting canceled, but that I've warned before that Pathfinder, I don't know how long Pathfinder will be around. So nothing is officially getting canceled, but I always try to caution you guys with licensed lines. I've mentioned this before. If somebody could clarify that for Kuro so that they're not panicking, that'd be great. I don't remember if I've mentioned it on a stream where they had ears or not. Alright, there we go. Although you can say that Marigold's not making it if you want. I have been clear on that. Salamander is very close. And has better coverage. Thanks, Quindy. I don't want our beloved Kuroda to have panic moments. Yeah, with Reaper transitioning to a new space, trying to downsize area, surface, and stuff like that, you just don't know. But yeah, I don't have the official word on anything. I don't even know when the 2.0 Kickstarter stuff's going to ramp up. I haven't gotten any word from Ron on it, on any planning. I may try to touch base with him just to see if I need to be doing something. Alright, I'm just Get these guys in. All right, let's see here. I think I will bring in... Yeah, this is working. I want to make all of his armor dark, like if it came down to it. I thought about making the little sleeves gold. These little scaly guys. But it'll be a lot harder to paint them that way. And I can't decide if that's his rib cage. Kind of silly to have your heart exposed like that, if so. So I do want to have some gold up there. And I painted over some of that with the gray. I think I'm just going to go for the blue liner on everything at this point and just go over the top. Cave whale gray. Yes. Meme all you want. The cave whale. Lord. You guys, the things that you make Ron produce through pure pressure. Alright. So let's get our blues mixed up. I'm going to use blue liner for this guy. I don't remember if I threw any Nightmare into that. I think I'm just using plain blue liner. I tend to like just blue liner for this kind of blue-black armor kind of thing. And I put a little bit of white in there to lighten it up. And also to increase coverage, but just a tiny bit of white, not very much. So that little bit of white actually didn't lighten it up that much. I think I'll work with this anyway. All right. So really, really dark blue-gray. Adding a little white makes it possible for me to actually add shadows with pure black, or mix the blue liner in pure black when I get to that stage. I'm going to switch to a much smaller brush because this guy actually has some pretty small areas. Without like me down there, Steve, there needs to be some R&D done before we can expand into washes. I think the liners are just fine. Understand that we don't have access to like formulations for acrylic inks. We would need to be able to source entirely new pigments for that. I don't know if that's in the cards for Reaper, given the current like fact that we're revamping everything else. Like we need to make sure, we need to see if 2.0 makes money, to be very, very honest with you. If Reaper paint begins to sell like it used to, then there's a rationale. I'm just going to paint over some of this stuff here. Then there's a rationale to do like an expansion to the line that might include like, you know, acrylic. But in order to do acrylic inks, you have to understand that we would need to double the amount of product that we keep on hand for pigment. And we would need to purchase a new pigment wheel to handle those pigments. Because in order to do inks, you need to be able to do super fine pigments. So you essentially need an entirely different line of pigments just for your inks. And that's a very large expenditure. It's a very large investment in something that may or may not pay off, especially because, as I mentioned before, it's a hard ask to jump on a bandwagon with product lines. Like a lot of companies, they make that their business, right? If somebody's doing X company will jump on it and try to do their own version. But the thing is about that unless you can do it better, cheaper, or with better distribution, at best you are splitting a very small piece out of a pie that may not even be that large to begin with. So if we were gonna do inks and washes, the good news is that the pigment would be the same. Like, they both use superfine pigments. So that would essentially mean that we weren't just ordering all that product, for one thing. But I still feel that we need to see, like, how the paint actually sells. Like, this is going to depend on how well 2.0 does. Because as it stands right now, to be very honest, I don't feel that the current level of demand justifies investing in an entirely new line. Opposite, unless 2.0 starts to do really well. If 2.0 starts to do really well, then maybe it would be worth it. And I know what pigments we would need to get. So, like, I already have a line on that. What we don't have a line on is a base for those things. And that would take R&D, which would mean bringing me back, essentially paying me to do R&D. But I don't really have the time in my current iteration. So I'm just being realistic with you. I know everybody hates realism. Like, my vision for 2.0, like, that's the audacious vision that I want us to concentrate on right now. The fact that Ron, and Reaper decided to, throw their money behind this and improving the paint line and relaunching it means a ton to me. And so I really want to focus on, that is cool enough right now. For me, everybody should be thrilled about that. And, the future is the future, question mark. But until we know whether this play, pays off, we won't know what we can do beyond that. And I find this always happens, when you announce, okay, we announced 2.0, there's all this, excite, and then, nothing happens for a while, and then people are like, but what about this? It's the next idea. And in reality, we still haven't, actually gotten 2.0 off the ground, so. But yeah, I understand. I know it will be exciting. Reaper has talked about washes and inks for a very long time. Another thing that you might be interested to know is that, although it sounds great, none of those things have ever really sold for us except for, two colors. You put out a line of inks, for example, or a line of washes. The only two colors that ever sell for you are black and brown. Everything else sells at a tiny fraction. And this is my direct experience with sales in our past times when we've done washes and stuff. And so you also have to keep that in mind. Do you really need a whole line? Sure, they're nice. Yeah, you got a freaking lighthouse, exactly. Yeah, but wait, there's more. Right, yeah. But there comes a point where you start... Yes, realism is the bane of meme campaigns. I also understand that everybody is sick of realism these days. Let's just dream audaciously. But I mean, I never thought that we would convince Reaper to redo MSP to the tune of I don't know if you guys realize this, but this is freaking expensive. Let's see. All right, good. I'm just going to take this guy off now. I just wanted to see him in place, but we can paint him a little easier by holding onto his cape. But this is an expensive upgrade for MSP. So it's a big investment for Reaper to make. So this guy's going to be pretty boring. We're just going to have to do a lot of surfaces of NMM. So I'm going to be talking a lot about why I'm highlighting in particular places on some of this NMM. And a lot of this NMM is going to be pretty stylistic, being on both a 28mm model, also an undead guy with glowy effect all around him. it's not real feasible to do a very realistic NMM on this guy. We'll be as realistic as we can, though. Yeah, a lot of people just don't, Steve. Yeah, like some people, I mean, my husband uses acrylic inks, but he uses maybe 10% acrylic ink and 90% paint. I bought him the Chimera Velvets for Christmas. He hasn't touched them yet. I'm very curious to see whether he works them into his flow. But yeah, for me, I expect the Chimera to kind of, like, I almost never used acrylic inks. And the purpose that I used the old acrylic inks for, like the De La Rowney, like the Chimeras are going to totally take over that for me. Like that, if they will do what I want them to do, like, and a little bit better probably than the De La Rowney do. So for me, for my method, the way I use paint. But yeah, and now there's a lot of, like I said, there's suddenly acrylic inks are the new thing, right? Like, Scaled Color put out a set of them, and now Chimera Velvets are big and on the scene. So, like, if I was still in charge of the paint department, my first question would be to look at the Velvets and say, okay, can we do this better? If we can't do it better, can we do it as good and cheaper? And or do we have better distribution? Like, can we get the product out there more effectively? Yeah, people just don't listen, right, Steve? Yeah, they've made up their mind that the Kickstarter is evil, especially store owners. I mean, they've gotten screwed a lot. To give them props, there are a lot of companies that have kind of screwed over the retail store owner. The Chimera, the best way to think about them is they're halfway between MSP and traditional, like, De La Rowney. De La Rowney is watery, and the Chimera are not. They are viscous. They are actually a lot more similar to, they're a lot similar to MSP consistency than watery consistency. They're concentrates. They say it on the bottle, concentrated acrylic ink. And that's what enables you to base coat with them. Like, if they didn't have that thicker consistency, you couldn't do everything with them. Like, their De La Rowney, I feel like, is a very specific ink because of their fluidity. Like, there's the limited, like, they're somewhat limited in usage for that. But the Chimera, being thicker and more akin to a regular paint, have more versatility because you can choose to use them full strength or you can thin them to the point of being, more like a standard acrylic ink. But you can also have them be stronger than that, right? Because they're starting out so intense and so concentrated. So unlike De La Rowney, where the most concentrated version is still very watery, with Chimera, I have a much more concentrated version, that isn't watery. So I have room to add my own water to exactly the level I want. So I find it more customizable. Furco's Vault in Vegas, they have an online store, and their little banner says that they're adding Chimera Velvets very soon, so should be able, if they can keep them in stock, then they should be available to order for you guys now that the Kickstarter is pretty much fulfilled. Yeah. Yep. I mean, to be fair, Reapers, like, and I love you, Ed, wherever you are up in heaven, I love you, but the plan to constantly produce new paints, but that they didn't have any space on the rack, like, was bad. It just alienated a lot of stores. And it was just too big of a line. It just got too unwieldy. I mean, stores have to be very careful about their bottom line. There's a lot of places they could spend their dollars. Ooh, I see some support struts I didn't get. Let me get my knife in here. Yep. I usually use Liquitex to just start getting De La Rowney. Yeah, I assume Liquitex are similar if they're acrylic, as long as they're acrylic inks and not traditional inks. because there's definitely a difference between, and I just did a PDF on that on my Patreon, the difference between the various inks. And I've been talking about this for 20 years now, the difference between acrylic inks and artist inks, quote unquote, calligraphy inks. It's a very profound difference. It matters a lot for miniature painters. And yet, I never see other people talking about this. It's like, it's one of those baffling things to me. Nobody ever talks about loading and unloading your brush. And nobody ever talks about the difference between the inks. Yeah, the best we can do is just put out 2.0, make it the best thing it can possibly be, and push it. Like, and see, you know, let the quality of the paint stand and teach people how to use it. Like, it's going to be an active effort. I'll be doing a lot more 2.0 stuff, probably on my YouTube. Certainly once 2.0 actually comes out. And I'll do a bit more leading up. Alright, I'm just going to block in all of this. We're just going to make this guy totally dark, and then we're going to start bringing up all these little surfaces. I don't want to muck around with him. I kind of want to get this guy done. I'm like, the horse was actually what I wanted to paint. I didn't actually want to paint the guy. So I'm just like, alright, we got to get this guy done. Got to get him out. Yeah, they pretty much, I mean, the different art companies definitely copy each other. No, Gilded Brush. Ron hasn't said a word. I mean, he said early this year, but I think they're still trying to fulfill Dungeon Dwellers. Maybe John could pitch in on that. There are still a couple of things that I would like to get Ron before the Kickstarter launches, and he has not requested them. So, not imminently. Like, I still need to do a equivalency list for them, and I also want to do suggested triads, stuff like that. But I don't have all the material I need to do that, like, because Bonita's still sending me, like, she's still updating colors, she's still sending me paint. I don't have the ability to do an equivalencies list right now, or a triad list, until I have everything in my hand. Swatches are not enough. So... But anyway, Bonita has time, and she's been busting butt. I got another box of paints with new MSP 2.0 formulations. Yeah, it's all about Dungeon Dwellers. It's very close. Okay, as soon as the books hit your door, and be out of here. All right, that's very good, John. Good to know. And then I assume we shift and we start planning the 2.0 Kickstarter, and then we get more of an idea. Yeah, once if you can let me know, John. I know this is, you know, you've got a ton on your plate already, but if you remember, I'll keep asking you too. Let me know, like, as that, like, if you are like, hey, the book should hit us within, like, a week. Because once that happens, I'll put aside some time to start working on the equivalency list and the triads. I want to have those be underway, at least when Ron tells me he needs them soon. But I don't have the time necessarily right now in the month. Oh, nice, Inara. Yeah, that's good to know. So, all right, so over 20 years of shelf life. That's great. It's not infinite, folks, but it's really good. I could just drop this guy and totally, like, go work on something else. And I might, if I get really frustrated or annoyed with all this NMM. Because it's just going to be kind of boring. In my opinion. I mean, I guess I still want to use it to talk about the specific shapes, because there's a lot of shapes on this guy, and that's a good teaching, point. But there will come a point where I'm like, all right, we've covered pretty much all these shapes already, and I may just put this guy aside. We'll see. We'll see how fast he progresses. If he progresses really quickly, then he'll stay alive, or undead, as the case may be. But yeah, when I got this model, I wanted to paint the horse. Make no mistake. I could paint an undead guy any day of the week, but when do you get to paint a spectral horse? I know, right, Quindy? They do make for good opportunities to yap. But I do get, there are models I have not finished just because I fell out of love with them. Hasn't happened for a while. Oh, I guess it did. It happened with the big Sophie, the big sci-fi Sophie, the big con Sophie, because I realized I wanted to do a total about face on an idea I had for her. And that's enough usually to have me set that model aside at least. So we'll probably go back to her, but I need to figure out what I want to do. Because I was going to do kind of a two-toned reflective chrome, but I actually really prefer the blue NMM I'm doing. So I had to stop and think about it for a while and decide how to move forward with her. So she's not truly put aside. Like some models that we started and stopped, I'm just like, I don't care if I never go back to them. But she's going to sit there for a bit while I think. Alrighty. Now we're getting all this blue down there. I want to get his hat done. It was only 5 years ago, right? No, don't. Don't think back to 1984. Just please don't. Yeah, I was going to do some of this crown in gold. But I think I'm going to do it all in the blue-black, and then we'll put gold over the top. I think it's going to look better with these spiky bits in the black. Now he looks kind of like a pope. An undead pope. But yeah, I kind of want to make it more brooding. Putting the gold over white for a base coat made it stand out, but I decided I kind of wanted him more gloomy than that. I could be closer. Not me, Inara. I was 2 years old. But technically, I do remember telling somebody, was it 2? It must have been my second birthday. It was second or third. I have a very clear memory of that. Probably it was 3. Telling somebody, my mom had me tell a neighbor that I was 3 when it was my birthday. But that would be 1975. So I can't remember 1974. I do remember we had black and white TV. I need to add a little bit more water into my paint at this point. We've had a little bit of evaporation. You just got to kind of keep an eye on it. And if you're bad about kind of like noticing passage of time in your head when you're painting, then what you train yourself to do is to notice when the paint has gotten thicker, when it's a little harder to apply. That's when you add a little bit of water, just like a brushful or a drop. Hey there, Michael. Good to see you. Kiki, that's Mama. You don't have to bark. It's raining like crazy here lately, and we've had an ant invasion. I have to call our pest people. Hi, are you a pest, you little keekers? Are you a pest? She's shedding. She's shedding so bad. Oh, yeah, I know. Even though I brush you out all the time. Okay, I'm going to put fur in your ear, Mama. I'm going to put fur in your ear. Yeah, did you put fur in the ear? Yes, now it's going to cling to my brushes. Yeah, it's going to cling to my brushes. Good girl. Do you want to come up and say hi? No? Okay. Miss Floofy Tail has left the building, or at least left the room. The floofiest of pests, it's true. I'm kind of glad, because I don't like when we have drought. So I'm kind of glad we're having a very wet winter. I like it. Definitely better than drought. But the ants are flooded out, and so now they're in our house. So I have to destroy them. Sorry, ants. Oh, there's another little connector print thingy that I didn't get. There it is. At least it came right off. Alrighty. I probably will put on just a little bit of red, like the cloth. There's like cloth. I think it's cloth. Can't tell. Maybe it's just weird ghosty. I think it's weird ghosty energy. Actually, we need to paint that green. But the cape might be a red and black combo. I know I tried red on the armor and it did not work, but I think a dark red cape might still work. It won't be too Christmassy if I make it mostly black and make it red on the back. I think and go with a dark red. Yeah, that's probably coming like from the storms that are blowing across now. I know, right? Yeah. Gilligan's Island in color, yeah. Alright, do I want the sides here to be... Yeah, I do. I want them to be dark. What are these flappy ear things? They're very odd. Very odd flappy ear things. I'm still going to leave these little guys. I want these to be gold, I think, but I don't know. I might just do everything up from really dark since he's undead and stuff. Oh no, I've got some paint on his cheekbone. Get out of there. There. Gotta be quick when you blorf. Lifesaver. If you're painting anything for your husband, Lusana, I think you need to tell him he gets to paint his own stuff from now on after that comment. Hey, Killer Quacken. I do a lot of exercises to help. One thing that I do just like as a matter of course is I've switched to a kneeling chair so that it's not... It helps me to keep my posture decent, although I was definitely bending down there. But the other thing I do is a lot of like stretches. And I also like kind of strength building exercises. The neck pain is like usually not actually from my neck. It's usually because my shoulders have gotten really tight. So I have a bunch of like, I'll lay down on the floor and flatten myself out, and I'll use like a tennis ball or another like a softer sports ball, but one that's still pretty firm. And I'll put it like up against my shoulder blades and work it around, essentially to release that muscle tension. You could use a foam roller. If you got a long foam roller, you can put it down on your back and kind of roll back and forth as well. Hey there, Bill. How's it going? But the thing to remember is if it hurts, it's because those muscles are super, super tight, and the only way to get them untight is to like just lean into that. So I'll move that tennis ball around my whole shoulder blade back here. I'll just inch it, use my hands, and I'll roll on it to make it take a new position. And I'll do that even when it hurts. I'll lean on that for like 20 seconds on every point. It takes a while, but after I do it, everything is much more loose. And I kind of check myself during streams too. If I can like move my shoulders freely and they're not tight, I'm doing pretty good. I do some yoga in the morning too. Yeah. It's a good one. It can release all the tension. Like I said, foam roller works too. Tennis balls are cheap, so that's good. It's a really, easy fix. You might also, there are a couple of like kind of realignment exercises you can do. Like if you put a chair in front of you and then you lean back on the floor and you put your legs up at a right angle on the chair, so where your calves are on the seat of the chair, keep that right angle. It'll kind of help because when your shoulders are off, it's almost always also that your hips are off. Like everything, it's never just one thing. It's never just the neck. It's the neck because the shoulders, because the hips, because our cores are weak. Like that's the terrible thing about it. Like I had to go to physical therapy like 3 times in the last year just to get all this stuff ironed out. And now I'm finally to the point where like I can kind of self-diagnose but I have to stay on top of like strengthening or I definitely notice it. So it's if you have like the ability to go to a physical therapist and you have the cash for it, it's worth it. Like they'll diagnose you, they'll figure it out. If you get a good one, feel free to shop around. I ended up with a very, very good one. She just looks at me and she knows what's off. But it is expensive. So I know most people, a lot of people really can't do that. But if you can, then I recommend it. And even if you go on YouTube, there's some physical therapists that'll give you exercises. But they can't, it's less useful because they can't like really, interact with you. So they can't tell you really what's wrong with you. But yeah, so good luck. I hope that some of that stuff at least gives you a little bit of relief. But yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. If your neck is bad and your shoulders are tight, your back is also probably like really tight and your hips are probably out of alignment. Arg! It sucks. It super sucks. May I recommend clamshell exercises? You can look those up. Also side-lying leg lifts with an exercise band. Essentially, you want to strengthen your glutes and your hip adductors because they're probably really weak if you sit a lot. That's about it. Yeah, for sure, Killer. Yep. Yeah, just remember that when that stuff happens, it's usually not just the overuse. It's often because you become really weak in some of your muscles. And so other muscles are having to grab that load because of the weak ones. So yeah, I hope it helps. I hope it helps. It could be a whole journey. So try not to be frustrated and try to keep trying things. Quit shrimping. That's what the kneeling chair helps with. Like most of the time it does help me to keep better posture. Yeah, well that's because they strengthen your gluteal muscles and your hip adductors, and those are what are so weak in so many of us because we sit all the time. And when those muscles get weak, everything else starts going out of alignment because they help hold your hips and your core in alignment. And so when that starts to go, then it just escalates. It goes everywhere. Our bodies are like, he looks pretty cool, actually. You know what? I'm going to paint over these with the dark, but then I'm going to get my gold out and start putting it. I might do some, I don't want to do some red there, probably. I got to be careful with the red. Okay, we're going to go over these in a second with gold, but I want to get them darkened in. The armor's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool, elaborate pieces on this armor. Yeah, connective tissue disorder gets nasty. I'm sorry. Sorry she's having to deal with that. I had to do it because I was running, and I had knee problems, which turned out to actually be linked to having really tight muscles in my feet and really weak glutes and hip adductors. So now I use a lacrosse ball to massage my feet pretty much every day to get those muscles to loosen up. And I use, I do the clamshells and the box step downs and all the other things, monster walks, to strengthen my hip adductors and glutes. And squats. Lots of squats, deadlifts, things like that. And it's helped. It's helped a ton. I can run without pain. I ran 4 miles on Saturday, getting back in the groove, guys. Now, you know what it is now? It's training time. Training time for that 21K that's rushing at me in October of this year. So today, even though it's raining, I have to go out and run at least 2 miles. Gonna have to get all my waterproof gear on. Hey, but I can splash through puddles. I'm just telling myself that to make it sound more fun than it is. But yeah, the training is real now. All right. Yeah, yeah. Well, and they also really, yeah, you have to work a lot of hard hours too, Twistedoma, as a nurse. Our medical professionals, like, they deserve better. Whew. Alrighty. So we're just getting the last bits of this armor blocked in. Then I'm going to get my gold color out and figure out how I want to spread that over the model. And I need to make sure I'm keeping this dark color off of this part that's going to be green. Yeah, if you look at clamshells, you can do them by lying on the floor or on your bed, although it's not as effective on the bed because it's such a soft surface. Twistedoma, but it's essentially lying on your side and then bending your legs and just bringing up your knee while keeping your feet together. So I hate them. I do them because they're the most effective exercise for hip and butt strength, but I hate them. I'll admit it. Physical therapies, exercises are not meant to be fun. They are meant to, be hard. But they help. So I don't complain much. I just get her done. Yeah. Very much overworked. That's what I was thinking. And of course the overwork when you're doing repetitive motions and you're lifting people and you're you're doing stuff that's pretty intensive sometimes. When you don't get enough breaks or enough time off, it's worse, right? It essentially makes it even worse. Yeah, I admire all you healthcare people because it is not an easy job. It's pretty brutal. Pretty brutal, and it seems from talking to some of my friends who've worked in healthcare, it seems like it can be very frustrating as well. Alrighty. Got his little paw, got that side, didn't do the bottom of that foot. Just gonna plug him in, make sure I've got my... The nice thing is that when I plug him down onto his little seat, if I plug his arm in there, I can, he kind of sticks pretty well. There, he'll stick together pretty well once I plug him in there. Let's get him back here. Alright. Yeah, see, the gold is too bright. The gold is too bright. I'm going to paint it over with the blue, and then I'll go over the top with gold, and by using the blue as a base color to paint the gold over, the gold will get a lot darker, a lot moodier. He looks a little bit too bright with that bling on his leg. Yeah, essentially, if you're doing nothing, then every little thing you can do, and you shouldn't do it overboard. You shouldn't go crazy, and it's too easy to just make yourself burn out, and then you don't do anything, and you go back to point zero. But even if you can do a little bit, it helps. So he's getting there. He's getting there. So we'll get more. We'll put the bling back on him, but this is a little bit too bright over the white primer, or the white primer. So we'll cover it over and then we'll reapply it and make it darker, moodier. More spooky. Needs to be more spooky. Too much bling. So yeah, we'll keep working on this guy for now. Like I said, maybe the armor will prove to be interesting enough that it won't be, and we'll be able to move fast enough that it won't be too monotonous. Not raining currently. That's good. Kiki will get her walk. I have a lot of organizational stuff to do today. I sat down and outlined a lot of North of the Wind last night. I need to think a lot about it. Kind of splitting my time a little bit between Queenmaker and North of the Wind now. As far as my books. But my momentum has kind of been disrupted since I've decided to rebrand. I don't know if you guys, a lot of you weren't on my Saturday stream. But I was, my books were being marketed as young adult fantasy. And I'm going to actually change that to adult coming of age fantasy. Bye, Crowley. It's nice to have you back in the stream. Nice to be back in the stream. Nice to have everybody back in the stream. But yeah, so I'm doing a rebrand of Bear Kings. And I did get an email from Ingram Spark that said they got my request to unpublish. Oh, that reminds me. Those who were not on my Saturday stream, I'm unpublishing my hardcover books because I have to in order to do this rebrand. I can't just change all the metadata on those listings. I have to actually republish them if I want them. So right now I think they're still available, but my hardcovers are going to go out of print within the next 1 to 4 weeks. So if you want one, now is the time to order. I can't tell you an exact time frame because Ingram's didn't give me one. And I'll be sending out an email to my mailing list as well. A reminder. In some ways, I'm actually kind of happy about this because Ingram's makes it very hard to update, like update the book file, like to put more books, in the front as, also in the Bear Kings, or to just update stuff, typos and things. So I'm not really mourning the loss of these. And if I decide to do hardcovers again, I'm going to do them a different way, I think. Yeah, it's essentially, it's going to be more than that, Twistoma. It's I don't think I'm going to republish the hardcover at all. I don't think I want to work with Ingram's right now. But it because I'm changing genres, it's not even a new edition. It's counted as a new book. Like when you do this, one of the options is to completely relaunch the series. I obviously don't want to do that because I have a bunch of great reviews. So on Amazon, I can just change the genres and the keywords and the blurbs and I'm done. Not a big deal. But on Ingram's, which is the people who does just my hardcovers, it's a lot more of a pain. So I would probably, because the interior of the book doesn't really change for me, I don't know that I would make it. I might make it. I don't think I'm going to make it a new edition. I think I'm just going to change the genre. I did some research into what I need to do, and pretty much it's just changing the metadata and the blurb. And sometimes the covers, but I love my covers. So we're just going to run with my current covers and see what we can do, guys. But yeah, the interior of the book isn't changing. And that's actually kind of the point, is that I realized that I'm a better fit for adult coming of age fantasy than I am for YA. And all my readers are adults anyway. Almost all. So, and I'm having a marketing problem with trying to market as YA, so there needs to be a change. But yeah, the books themselves aren't going to change, and it isn't going to count as a new edition. Authors actually change their blurbs all the time. And it's also apparently quite common to run into the problem I had where marketing just doesn't find your audience in YA. And a lot of fantasy authors actually end up going and shifting. All right. So, I missed a little spot. Get that gold out of there. No more gold. And then this guy also, this side also has gotten blingy. Yeah, usually if significant changes are made to the interior, that's when you get a new edition. Seriously. Like when some of the running books that I've gotten, you know, as information is updated and the science of performance changes, they'll add a new chapter or they'll significantly change some chapters. That becomes a new edition. But since I'm not changing the interior of the books, except to, like, you know, continue to add, you know, new books to the list of the books in the series, and, you know, make sure that my books always have I need to insert some things like, hey, join my mailing list and stuff like that, but that's little. Like, these little things, they don't count as a new edition. The text in the book, fixing typos, the text in the book, like, staying the same, that's not a new edition. So yeah, you need to, I don't know what the actual rule is, but you need to change significant stuff to have a book be a new edition. Like some writers on, like, who are on, like, a web novel or a Royal Road or stuff like that, like, if they do, they publish the book in episodes on those serial sites, but then they decide to put it on like Amazon, they might, like, go and do a developmental edit and essentially put it out as a new edition. Because things have changed. But yeah. But the books stay the books. It's just that I wasn't marketing them right. So what I'm mostly changing is the marketing, but it means that the hardcovers go away. Because I can't actually change the metadata on those. It won't let me. Ingram's won't let me, so that means they have to be canceled. But it also means I have to wait for them to be canceled before I can change all these things and start actually marketing in my new genre. It's kind of nuts. All right. Just going to finish this little toesies. I need to find Hakir Gold. I've got it around here somewhere. I thought I might use it to put this gold down. All right, there, we've taken all of the gold off. Let me see if I can find, I may have taken the Hakir Gold and put it somewhere else. Did I put it down here? No. I obviously stuffed it down in, like, one of my boxes down here. The problem with that, Marich, is nominally, yes. However, because the metadata for those hardcover editions are linked to the paperback and ebook versions, it then confuses the algorithm. You see? Because then when Amazon, tries to see, like, tries to parse all my metadata, they're also parsing that hardcover book. And if there are conflicts in that parsing, this book is YA, this book is not, that can actually screw up my marketing. Because they're all linked in the Amazon store. And honestly, like I said, I'd rather I think I'm actually kind of relieved to unpublish them. If I want hardcovers in the future, I'll go into it knowing a little bit more. But yeah, otherwise and sure, I can ask the ads to just, pull from the ebook and paperback version, but overall that metadata is still there. I don't want to take the chance. I don't make any money off of the Ingram's hardcovers anyway. So I mostly did them for me. But when I double checked, it seemed like even if I don't directly point to my ads to those listings, the fact that they're linked in the store means that the algorithm can still get kind of confused. We don't want that. We want to have a good launch, right? A good kind of launch into the adult space. So I don't want my first sets of ads to get compromised. But yeah, it just means I'm not going to be, I'll start up some new ads just cause, but yeah, considering I'm changing the blurb and everything too. So then you got a different blurb on the hardcover than you do on the other versions. It's fraught. I'd rather wait and have it be clean, I can still mark it as YA for the next 4 weeks while I'm preparing to change everything over. I can get everything written up and ready. Alright, I think we've got everything kind of touched up now, guys. No bling. No bling, all moody. All depressing. All undead. All undead all the time. We don't really have time to do the gold, so I think I am going to hunt for my Hicure gold, and I'm really quick. I'm going to do these chains. And then we'll call it. I want a bigger brush, though. But yeah, it's all an adventure. Life is all an adventure. I'll just, get all my blurbs rewritten, figure out all my new categories and keywords, and work on the outline for North of the Wind. There we go. Just get these. And another thing is, doing NMM on spiked balls like this is the worst. I just want to say. Worst ever. Oh, I'm running out of paint. No. He's wobbly. He's wobbly now. He doesn't want to stay in. He's angry at me for losing all his bling. Well, I'll just get the chains. I'll have to mix up this color anyway to do highlights and everything. try to get as much as we can. Whee! Yeah, all the little spikes and highlighting them all differently can get a bit fraught on these spiked balls when you're doing NMM. They're a bit easier to do with shaded metallics because you can rely on the metallics to pick up the light a bit more. Well, maybe we can manage to get everything colored in here. There we go. Alrighty. Yeah. And I want to do these dark because at this point, if you look at the composition of the model, they're way out here. So the temptation might be to like make them kind of glowing greenish at the points maybe. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can just make the points on these balls glow a little bit green. But we don't want to bring too much bright color out here because it's so far away from like the whole point of the model. And so it just will pull the eye way out here. So the best we can do, I think, is to try to put just a hint of the green energy, ghostly energy out here, as if he's got necrotic energy at the end of his weapon. And then we'll work it that way. That's kind of my thought. Hey, Marich, thanks for the sub. Crawling toward a year. It's true. Alrighty. Excelente. So we'll stop there. We still like made some progress here, and I'm starting to feel like I'm getting more. He still wants to come out of his face. Sad little horsey. Just does not want to stay stuck down. I may have to actually, at this point I might glue him in. Since I've colored this, I can just glue the horse down and then I won't have to worry about the wobblies. But we'll definitely do some green energy highlighting like we did on Ghosty Night, down on the base. But yeah, so I think that we're moving pretty well here. And next time we'll block in the cape and start on the armor. Tomorrow, hold on, let me get horses back up here. Tomorrow's basing day. And I think we'll work more on the kind of the pillars. We might do a little bit, we might stick on this guy, Bird Guy's little staff topper. And also work more on this dude and his kind of rock pillars that I wanted to do. So I need to essentially start making these more like stone now, since I got it kind of fitting onto his little base. So that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. So thank you all for coming out today. We're back. We won't have another break really till Adepticon. Because I'm going to go to Adepticon, and apparently I'm not going to Arizona to visit my folks because they're just going to come to the convention. So my family is thinking of geeking out, of exposing themselves to the geekery that is Adepticon, to come up and hang out with David and I for a couple hours because they're very close, and we might drive down to see them as well. So yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking. Yeah, thanks. I hope you all have a lovely day. Hopefully, however bad the weather is where you are, you can soldier through. You know, I don't remember. I think my mom, if I remember right, she came out to one of the historical shows. She came to MMSI with me. She really likes the historical models. But anyway, oh, and Jazz Guy, guys. Jazz Guy was a hit. Like, David's mom actually, like, teared up when we gave her the model. She was totally surprised. She was totally shocked. She had no idea it was coming. Yeah, so that was totally successful. That was an absolutely successful Christmas. Yeah, so there we go. So we hit it out of the park on that one. All right. Thanks all. And I will see you later. Quindy, as always, thank you for modding, and Sean. And I will see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a great one. Bye-bye.